Hey y'all, and welcome to this brand new episode of the Signal Sportscast. I am the host, Marco Alvarado, and today we're going to be talking about some Rockets basketball. We're also going to be talking about some Houston Texans football and some news and notes around them, and some Astros news, and some features on the World Cup between the coverage of Team USA and Mexico. Sit back, relax, and let's dive right into it. They are not a good basketball team. They are currently on pace to be the worst team in the NBA for the third consecutive season, which isn't a bad thing because the Rockets are currently rebuilding. But to be honest, the Rockets went from a contender to literally a rebuilding franchise within a snap of two fingers. It's unfortunate, but here we are. We have good rookies, good young players as well to develop underneath the Rockets umbrella, and we all know the Rockets developmental team is pretty good. The G League team, the Rio Grande Valley Vipers, can back that statement up through their championships they have won in the G League. So things are looking up for the Rockets. They really are. So just to give you a gist of what the Rockets have been doing this past week, they played a home game against the Los Angeles Clippers on the 14th, took an L against them, 122-106. Then they faced Dallas in Dallas, the Mavericks, and they beat them 101-92. So the Rockets won the rivalry game against the Mavericks. And they came back home to have Elvin Hayes retirement night and to also debut the new Classic Edition jerseys that pays homage to the San Diego Rockets, which was the franchise's early days whenever they became a franchise. Took a loss on that, unfortunately, 99-91. Then had a game against the Golden State Warriors, the NBA defending champions, and lost to them by only 7 points. The last two games that they played, the Rockets played extremely well. They've led in both games at one point. But just to give you the recap, scoring-wise, your scoring leaders for the game against the Indiana Pacers for your Houston Rockets was going to be Eric Gordon for 36 minutes, 24 points, 3 assists, and 6 rebounds. He went 8 for 17 from the field. Your second leading scorer would be Jalen Green. Jalen Green played 31 minutes and with 16 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds. So that should tell you what the team did offensively. Your two top leading scorers were going to be your two guards that are on the floor, both starters, by the way. So I thought this game was really a winnable game for the Rockets. Like I said, they were leading by 10, I think at 12 at the most, and they just let it fall off. No defense, no buckets were being made, and they couldn't buy a bucket to save their life in shooting-wise and layup-wise. The referees didn't call that many fouls, but you can't blame the refs. It depends on team play at the end of the day. We're going to jump into the Golden State game that they have played recently. Your leading scorer for your Houston Rockets would be Kevin Porter Jr. In 34 minutes, he scored 30 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds. And your second leading scorer would be Jabari Smith Jr. And in those 32 minutes he played, he ended up putting up 22 points with 1 assist and 7 rebounds. So another game that the Rockets were counted out against the team that they were playing. Remember, it's Golden State Warriors. They had the Splash Bros, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. Literally all their all-stars really were available, and they played the whole game, really. Defending NBA champions versus a rookie team that's on pace to be the worst team in the NBA, of course everybody's going to count you out. But the Rockets were leading at halftime, and that should tell you about this team, that this team can play, especially against a high competition, good level basketball team and the Warriors. So what Steven Silas is implementing kind of works, but at the same time doesn't. There's some Rockets fans out there that believe Steven Silas should go. They think he's not really the coach to be with the Rockets during this rebuild process. To be honest with you, I really don't know. I feel like at this point the Rockets are kind of sort of everywhere with this rebuild process. They have the right general manager, but the coach is another story. If everybody likes a coach, then hey, everybody likes a coach. But at the end of the day, the coach isn't the one that's playing the game. He's just implementing his system defensively, offensively, all around. He has a good assistant coaching staff, beneath him. But at the end of the day, The fans are going to say what they want. And to be honest with you, I honestly think that Stylist needs to go as well. They need a coach that is going to hand down the rules, basically saying, hey, it's either my way or no way. But like Coach Silas is really buddy with his players, which isn't a bad thing. But at the same time, as a coach, you need to be more of a leader figure instead of a friend. And especially if you're in the NBA, that's the top competition within the whole basketball world. So we shall see what the Rockets will do. The next remaining games the Rockets have will be against the Atlanta Hawks, Oklahoma City Thunder. Those are both going to be at home in their back-to-back games. Then we got the Denver Nuggets in Denver, again on a back-to-back. What a day rest in between. So Denver back-to-back with the day rest, if that makes sense. Then they travel to Phoenix and face Golden State again in Golden State. Then they come back home, play the 76ers, and go back out on the road to Sacramento. And then finish off the week against Milwaukee here in Toyota Center. So keep your eyes on the Rockets. Fun team to watch if you like good basketball, young basketball. They kind of give me AAU and college vibes just based on how they operate stuff. So keep on looking out for the Rockets, and we'll see what they do in the next couple games. On to the Texans. The Houston Texans faced the Washington Commanders here at NRG Stadium this past Sunday. They took an L against the Commanders, 23-10 in front of the home crowd. Lovie Smith was questioned about the quarterback change that really needs to be changed, honestly. And he finally gave a direct answer saying that he's looking into it and he doesn't really know what the future holds with Davis Mills going forward. So hopefully after the season and come this draft, the Texans can draft a good quarterback at a high ranking. I strongly believe that they could do it behind Nick Caserio's thinking because he had a tremendous draft this past offseason whenever the draft was happening. So, again, it's something that we need to wait on and see as fans. Hope for the better for the future of the Texans. The next game the Texans play will be against the Miami Dolphins. That'll be at 12 o'clock noon in Miami. Davis Mills versus Tua Tagovailoa. So we shall see what happens. Just looking at their quarterback comparison, Davis Mills has thrown for 2,144 yards with 11 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. Tua, on the other hand, has thrown for 2,265 yards, has 18 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions. I want to shed a little light on Dameon Pierce. He's the running back for the Houston Texans, fan favorite, really a dog on the field, has 175 carries for 780 yards and with 3 touchdowns. I strongly believe, alongside with other Texans fans, that the offense needs to run through Dameon Pierce. Brandon Cooks is out of the picture. He doesn't want to be part of the team anymore. Who else is up? Your tight ends aren't as strong. Your other running back you have isn't as strong as well, and Rex Burkhead. And honestly, who's the next man up? Dameon Pierce is the one who's gaining yards and literally carrying your offense, no pun intended, for success. So if the Texans want to be more successful moving forward this season, I strongly believe that Dameon Pierce needs to have the offense ran through him. So let's see what happens with the Texans this Sunday against the Miami Dolphins. On to the 2022 World Series champs, Houston Astros. Just some light news. 3 coaches have agreed to new contracts to return back to the Astros, so they'll be managed under Dusty Baker. Their coaches that are going to be coming back is Josh Miller, Alex Cintron, and Troy Snitker. So they are coming back to coach on the Astros. Good to have those people back. They have good chemistry with the players that have already been involved, and they've been with the team for years, everybody. So again, good, strong foundation with the Astros to help them make a run in 2023. And other than that, everything else is cool. Rafael Montero re-signed. That has been stated in previous reports. He's coming back to the bullpen, and that's basically all we have at the moment. On to our World Cup coverage. I'm going to bring in fellow Signal worker, executive editor, actually, Cesar Cardenas. Cesar, how we doing?
Doing pretty good.
We've both been hitting the gym lately.
I'm tired.
Very good workouts, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're getting fit and getting into it, I guess you could say.
It's the spirit of the season, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing people perform at the highest level. It's always good.
Well, let's jump into this World Cup coverage. Where do we begin, man?
I guess we should start with Argentina.
One of the biggest upsets this whole World Cup thus far. I know it's only group stages, but Saudi Arabia beating Argentina?
There's really no excuse for them to lose at this point.
2-1 was your final score on that, and this was played the morning this was recorded. I believe it was the first game of the.
I believe so. Yeah.
Of today, yeah. So, what went wrong for Argentina?
I think a lot of what Argentina has a problem with is playing together as a team.
Right.
They have good players. Of course, they have one of the best players in the world with Messi. Mm-hmm. But when it comes down to their teamwork and kind of playing cohesively as a team, they're just not together.
Right.
And you know what happens with the World Cup, especially because these are players that are all playing in different countries, playing different soccer clubs, and so when they come together, they're not always on the same page.
So chemistry really was the issue for Argentina, according to your analysis.
Absolutely.
Okay, sweet. So would you say this was a bigger upset than when Mexico upsetted Germany in the last World Cup in the group stage?
Probably. I would say that. Yeah, I would say Argentina is the bigger upset just because Saudi Arabia.
Because remember, Germany was the defending World Cup champs heading into that World Cup.
That's true, but you have to also take into account a lot of defending World Cup champs. It's 4 years between them. It is not like a single year.
So the team kind of deflates at that point.
Yeah, usually. And a lot of what made Germany good that year was their young core. And so when you kind of lose that young core that you have, and this was seen in France as well, you just kind of fall apart as a team because you don't have the energy. You still have the motivation, right? Because you want to defend your title, but having that energy that a young core has like that, it's priceless in the World Cup.
And of course, with what we've seen over the years with Mexico, when coaches change, everything changes.
Uh-huh.
Everything. Whole different system is implemented, possibly new coaching stuff depending on how everybody's feeling, and new players come into the mix as well that fit in their coach's system. So we know from firsthand experience how that goes. Speaking of Mexico, I want to dive in on their experience right now in the World Cup. We just finished watching them play 0-0. Ochoa is the GOAT. He literally saved the game against Poland. He blocked the penalty kick.
Yeah, unheard of since what? It was 1930 something?
36, yeah, 36. Against Uruguay.
Yeah.
First Mexican goalkeeper to block a penalty kick in the World Cup.
Historic. He also has, I believe, the second most saves out of any current goalie.
Yeah, I believe so as well. And then on top of that, he's the captain.
He's the captain?
He's the captain.
He's one of the oldest players there. I believe he is tied with some other past Mexican player for most World Cup appearances at this point now.
Hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah, he deserves it, honestly.
He's the man.
He's the man. Anybody on that roster, he deserves it the most.
So nobody would have thought that out of this group, what are they, Group C?
Mexico is Group C, yes.
Group C, Saudi Arabia has a point.
Saudi Arabia is currently on top of their group.
And everybody has donuts because, Mexico tied and Argentina was defeated by Saudi Arabia.
So currently, as it stands, as of today, Saudi Arabia is +1 at the top of the leaderboard from Group C, followed by Poland and Mexico, which are both tied for 0 points. And then we have Argentina with -1 point because they lost.
That's crazy.
It is a complete flip-flop of what you would think it would be.
So how do you think Mexico's going to come out this group? Do you think they're going to advance, or are they going to be a first-round exit, so to speak? I mean, how do you feel about that? What's your analysis?
Before the World Cup started, I very much saw Mexico and Argentina coming out on top like they usually do.
Right. And you're not the only person that thought that.
No.
Because I thought that as well.
Historically, Poland does not make it out of group stages. Saudi Arabia does also not make it out of group stages. But now seeing Argentina kind of fumble the bag in a sense, they are at a high risk of being eliminated in the group stages. Which
there's no doubt.
That's unheard of.
And I told you this during the game, or I believe it was right after the game. But I'm going to say it on the pod to make the record known. Saudi Arabia did this whole group a favor. And what I mean by group is Group C. They blew it wide open.
Absolutely.
They blew it wide open. They defeated the top dog, so to speak, in Argentina. So that way, by blowing it open, literally anybody can come out of that group. Because think about it. If teams go up against the top team in Argentina, they're going to say, if one of the weakest teams in the cup, or in this whole tournament, historically, can beat a contender that has made it to the semifinal in years previous, almost every time.
Yeah.
Why can't we beat them?
Absolutely. I think with Saudi Arabia's victory today, it is really a toss-up of how the next couple games go. Because Mexico historically has always pretty much made it out of the group stage.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia and Poland, not so hot, but now that they have that advantage, and they've kind of proven, even as as well as the Mexico versus Poland game went this morning, Poland has proven that they can compete with the top dogs.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. They took me by surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. Like previously, people would have very much debated that it would be Mexico and Argentina coming out of the group stage, but now it's really up in the air.
It's a whole new ball game.
It is absolutely.
No pun intended, but I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Yeah.
It's so blown open at this point that literally anything can happen, and everything is important when it comes to these types of tournaments. I mean, you could treat it almost like a postseason, so to speak.
Because you're basically you're doing a play-in / wild card into playoffs, which is the round of 16.
I mean, I'm going to use baseball analogy, for example, because we just came fresh off their postseason. They say every pitch matters.
Absolutely.
So
every play matters.
Every play matters. And you can say that about the NBA playoffs. Every possession matters.
Every possession.
And the NFL, you can say the same thing as well whenever their playoffs is happening. So, again, it really comes down to the nitty-gritty and everything mattering at that point. So, I'm rooting for Mexico in the World Cup. Cesar, who are you rooting for?
I'm also rooting Mexico. That's my home country. I gotta go for it.
The motherland.
I'm wearing the jersey right now. You can't see it, but I'm wearing it proud.
I'm not gonna lie. I have Mexico shorts on right now, basketball shorts.
Yeah.
That somebody made, but yeah, that's what I'm going for. But we're also gonna shed light on Team USA. I'm not gonna talk down about them, Cesar. I don't know.
I'll stay neutral.
Okay, I'm saying neutral as well. You want to go over their group right quick and see what they're doing?
So, as of right now, the United States is currently in Group B, which also includes England, Wales, and Iran. As of this morning, November 22nd, Group E, as it stands, we have England on top with +4. We have Wales at 0, United States at 0, and Iran with -4.
Wow. So, that's another competitive group. Wales, England,
United
and then
States.
USA. This is USA's first World Cup in Lord knows how long.
Yeah. And they have high expectations on them as well.
They do.
They
Young
are fresh
squad.
off of their recent tournament win. And so
Gold Cup.
The Gold Cup. That
was their first Gold Cup in
years as well.
Yeah.
So they have high expectations.
I wonder who took the title on that for years as well.
All right, settle down. But yeah, United States has a lot of expectations currently on their shoulders. Will they live up to the hype? That is yet to be seen.
I'm not gonna knock Team USA down. That's a terrific ball club that they assembled. I feel like their young group really have exceeded expectations, starting with their Gold Cup victory. That whenever it was
last year, I believe,
the year before, possibly. So even then, that's a good ball club. They have a good foundation, fresh start for them, really. Because I think what was holding them back was, straggling the veteran players, which isn't a bad thing. They kind of set the tone for what is to come. But
I think
these young players on Team USA, man, Christian Pulisic, Tim Weah's been in the system a little bit, so he's kind of a vet in a way. But man, them cats can run.
Yeah,
soccer-wise.
London Donovan's retirement definitely ushered in a new era for Team USA.
Not to mention Dempsey's departure from the team as well.
Yeah, and I think Christian Pulisic has definitely stepped up and become that main man that they need. And he is Captain America, as they say.
As they say.
And so he's been doing a great job leading that team so far. They did tie yesterday. Due to a penalty kick late in the game.
Yeah, imagine not blocking a penalty kick.
Okay, all right. But in terms of who's coming out in this group stage, unfortunately, I don't think it's Iran.
Oh yeah, nothing against them. They really haven't been the best ball club in years past. I mean, hey, they're trying their hardest, but comp is comp.
Yeah. So I think definitely England is definitely a favorite.
Oh, yeah, definitely. England's always been a powerhouse.
Absolutely.
Always, for years. I think that's one team that's not going to slow down anytime soon because anything they produce is just spot on great. Like,
historically,
good players, yeah.
Historically, they've always had that one great player, whether it's David Beckham or anybody else.
Wayne Rooney
as well. Like, they have someone, usually, and they will be one of the best players in the world.
The English boys don't play out there.
They don't play.
They got, you know.
Well, they do play, but they play a lot.
Right, really but they're really passionate about soccer, or as they call it, football. You know, overseas. That's like the number one sport over there. So
yeah.
You already know the competition is going to be at an all-time high, especially talent-wise as well. I feel like if somebody from the England national team, like if they try out, they don't make it, they'll easily make it on another like national team, if that makes sense. If they have that nationality, you know what I'm saying? Like if they were to come to the United States because they're American as well and try out for the American team, they'll make it. Because the football over there that's produced, how they train, how they perform, how they practice, like the preparation they do is at an all-time high. Very different from how Mexico prepares, very different how USA prepares. This is different in general. Every country is unique in their own way. Like, they have their own style of play, and it's at an all-time high. We could say the same thing about the southern country, like the southern continent countries.
Absolutely.
Brazil, that's a powerhouse. And they've been a powerhouse since we were in, diapers? Maybe even before then?
Since pretty much the first World Cup.
Exactly. Not to mention Mexico as well, USA, England. Who other teams am I missing? Overseas. Spain is valid.
Germany, France.
You know what I'm saying? Portugal has always been valid as well. Ronaldo, how can we miss that guy? And then Argentina, obviously, but I mean, what happened today? I mean, that's beyond me. But you kind of get where we're getting at, where the different play styles come into play, and they just produce powerhouse players. And then players handle business not only with their national team, but with the different teams they play with, across the world.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite things about watching the World Cup is seeing all the different play styles from, teams being more physical, refs allowing that, to get away with that. European teams, just the speed, the agility that they have. It's just really interesting to see how kind of these play styles all mesh together and how they compare.
Now, just to piggyback off of the world stage, what do you think about FIFA's controversy behind their bribery, showing favoritism, and all that other, that ballpark, so to speak?
I think FIFA's controversy over the past couple of years, or the past couple decades, actually, it sucks, but they are putting together an event that is, kind of unifying the world in a sense. Bringing all these countries together, bringing all these fans together to celebrate, the sport, celebrate being human, Because regardless, if your team didn't make it, or if they get knocked out in the group stages, or if they get knocked out in, the round of 16, it's just a celebration of the game.
You get to see something beautiful.
Absolutely. And so I think, despite the shortcomings of FIFA and their bribery, their corruptedness, it's still a beautiful game, And so I think it's important not to lose that sight.
Yeah, and you honestly don't like to see those type of controversies when it comes down to, such a big stage. I could kind of piggyback off of what you said. About basketball. FIBA is known for being very crooked and corrupt, and that's something you don't like to see in that world, because you like you just said, you like to see when everybody comes together and watch something that they adore and love.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it doesn't apply to just soccer or football in general. It applies to everything. There's a world stage for everything, and you don't want to see that type of stuff in that stage. Anything else you want to say before we close things out?
Not really. I'm looking forward to the next couple of matches. I'm excited to see how far Brazil and Germany get this year. I think in terms of surprises, I think there might be some surprises. Japan might throw a couple surprises. They might throw some haymakers. They are in a very tough group with Spain and Germany. France will be exciting to see how far they get as well, due to their recent shortcomings as well, just playing poorly. yeah, I'm very excited for the rest of the World Cup.
Absolutely. Let's just see how this thing plays out. Grab your popcorn, grab your drink, and buckle up for a wild ride known as the World Cup.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been an episode of the Signal Sportscast. Follow us on social media at UHCO The Signal. We'd really like to hear your feedback on everything, and get active with us because we'll get active right back next to y'all. I'm Marco Alvarado.
I'm Cesar Cardenas.
And this has been the Signal Sportscast.